Breaking tonight, we just heard from President-elect Donald Trump announcing another pick of his. He is selecting the former NFL star and Heisman Trophy winner and also failed Georgia Senate candidate Herschel Walker to be his ambassador to the Bahamas. We are getting updates from Trump almost by the minute of these picks. But speaking of another nominee who is also going to be facing Senate confirmation, as Herschel Walker will, RFK Jr. spent the day up here on Capitol Hill working to convince Republican senators to confirm him as the next Secretary of Health and Human Services. One of them is the incoming Senate Majority Leader, that's John Thune, that you see here. He said he does expect that Kennedy will face tough questions on comments that he's made advocating for the debunked link between vaccines and autism. A lot of those questions could also come from Democrats who I should note Kennedy has not started meeting with yet, but says he plans to do so after the recess in January. My source in the Senate tonight is one of the Republicans he will also be meeting with, North Carolina's Senator Ted Budd, and it's great to have you here. You're meeting with RFK Jr. tomorrow.
That's right.
What are your biggest questions that you have for him that you'd like to have answered?
Well, first of all, we've been meeting with a lot of these nominees, and these nominees, they're going to get confirmed. So I think we have to look at it with that framework. I asked them all the questions.
Confirmed?
I think they all get confirmed. I do. And I've had great meetings with them. I've asked all the tough questions. I said, hey, I think the Democrats are going to ask you this. Tell me how you're looking at these questions. So I'll ask Bobby Kennedy some tough questions tomorrow. I come from an agricultural state, so I'm going to ask him about traditional agriculture. It's the biggest industry in North Carolina. I'm going to ask him all sorts of things. We've got hog farmers that are going to ask him, do you support our industry? Are you going to hurt North Carolina? But let's remember at the end of the day, this is Trump's nominee. And it's not really his history. It's not his policies. It's Donald Trump's policies that he's going to have to end up supporting.
Yeah, and I'm glad you bring up the agricultural industry in North Carolina because the pork production is one of your biggest things. I mean, I believe North Carolina is like the #3 state on that matter.
And at least give us a #2.
When you ask him, well, I think it's Iowa and Minnesota are the two above you, unless the numbers have changed. We'll see. But on that, RFK is someone who once told people in Iowa that hog producers are the greatest threat to the U.S. and U.S. democracy, greater than Osama bin Laden. I mean, are you going to ask him if he still holds that view, given, of course, how much it matters to your voters?
We're going to have that conversation. And again, I'm very protective of the agriculture in North Carolina, but it's not RFK's policies. It's going to be Donald Trump's policies. And if you look at his first term as the 45th president of the U.S., he was very supportive of agriculture. I was there with him in Asheville when during COVID, when he supported agriculture. So he has been consistently from day one of January 20th of 2017 all the way until now, very supportive of agriculture, and I know that he's going to continue to be.
So
we don't have to guess about his policies. He's going to be pro-agriculture.
But the cabinet obviously has deep influence. I mean, you've seen these cabinet meetings, especially with Trump. They go on for hours. He listens to RFK Jr. and clearly is very influenced by him, as he himself has talked about their conversations. So you're not worried that any of his views on this industry could influence how Trump governs?
We ask the questions, and then we say, at the end of the day, it's going to be Donald J. Trump's policies, which are proven already. And how much in alignment with with Donald Trump, are you going to be? And I expect it's going to be 100%. We've already seen them clarify some previous thinking, not just Bobby Kennedy, but others that are going to be clarifying previous positions to say that they're in alignment with Donald J. Trump.
Yeah, I just think on the hog farmers thing, especially, I mean, he once implied in your state that every public official there was corrupted by the pork industry. And given how much it matters, are you going to ask him about that?
We'll ask him all the questions. I don't pull any punches in these meetings. We have great discussions. But at the end of the day, it's Donald J. Trump's policies, and he deserves the policies to be put forth. He deserves the candidates that he's nominated for them to be confirmed, and I believe they will be confirmed.
So there's nothing he could say that would change your mind on how you're going to vote on him, essentially?
I fully expect that he's going to be on board with Donald J. Trump's policies, and those are the policies that he's going to support over the next 4 years.
A lot of focus has been on what he has said about vaccines, I think understandably so, and certainly your Democratic colleagues have had questions about that as well. But abortion has been an issue that I've heard from people when they speak to RFK Jr. that is one of their greater concerns, given his past views. I want you to just listen to what he has said about the issue recently.
I wouldn't leave it to the states.
You wouldn't, right?
No, I would.
He would say completely. It's up to the woman.
My belief is we should leave it to the woman. We shouldn't have government involved.
Even if it's full term.
even if it's full term.
He's saying that decision should be up to women. Obviously, you have been very proud of your record fighting for abortion restrictions.
Right.
You two differ on that greatly. Are you comfortable with someone who holds that view being the HHS Secretary?
Well, it's not those policies that are going to be implemented. It's Donald Trump's policies. And he's been very consistent, whether it's what we talked about a moment ago, agriculture, or whether it's abortion. It's going to be the most pro-life president, I think, in our history, and that's Donald Trump. And he's going to be president again. And it's going to be those policies that are going to win the day. I think you need to actually flip it around and ask the Democrats who of the nominees from President Trump are they going to be supporting. I really think that's probably, rather than having me here, I'm going to support Donald Trump's policies and his nominees. But what about the Democrats? Remember, these folks, they recently were Democrats until they got rejected, until their party went so far left that they had to go and become independent and now support a Republican
Well, I don't know if
president.
that would be RFK Jr.'s case, but obviously he dropped out of the race. He was running against Trump.
Yeah, then my
endorsed
colleague
him.
from the House,
But,
Tulsi Gabbard.
You're talking about the tough questions you've asked these nominees when you meet with them. You've also asked tough questions to some nominees in public. I mean, Biden's FAA nominee. You certainly haven't, voted for, or Republicans have not at large voted for all of Biden's nominees. So I guess the question that some people may have is, are you only applying scrutiny to nominees of another president and not just because it's your own president?
Well, remember, it was Biden's policies that they were ultimately supporting, which brought me great concern. But when they support Donald Trump's policies, that gives me great hope. And that's why people support him. I mean, even more than they popularly elected him just a few weeks ago. They are supporting him even more, to the tune of 59%. If you poll our whole nation, they say 59% of the people are supportive of Trump's nominees. I just got off the phone about an hour ago with thousands of folks in North Carolina. I did a teletown hall, and I polled them with this question. I said, how many of you support Donald Trump's nominees? And 80% came back and supported him.
Well, right, but your job, obviously, as a senator, is advising consent to make sure they're qualified, not just that they, obviously, Trump won the election. That's why any president is picking any cabinet nominees, because they won and are therefore in that position. So is there anything that could come up in any of this that would make you think twice about that, given you do have a really powerful decision here as a U.S. senator?
Well, they're going to get confirmed. I asked the tough questions. I listened for concerns. But Donald Trump's smart. He knows how to pick people and put good people around him. He was good in 2017 through early 2021. He's even better now. He's had 4 intervening years to think about this and figure out how he would run his administration even better. He's a person throughout his life that's constantly improving. And at 78 years old, he's going to do even better now than he did the first term.
And you've made very clear tonight, you are going to confirm all of his nominees. Nothing withstanding could change your mind. You believe that they should be supported. Some of your colleagues are not as, full steam ahead on all of these nominees. They've had some serious questions and some skepticism about some of them. If one of your colleagues votes against one of the nominees, does not feel that they should be in that position, do you think it's fair that they should be primaried because of just that decision?
I can speak for me. I mean, I can speak for me in the way that I represent North Carolina. Others are free to do. I mean, they were elected by their states, but I can only focus on, for me,
do you think
North
it's fair
Carolina.
for them to be primaried?
Look, this is an open process.
For voting no?
I mean, nobody wants a primary, but it's certainly people's right to do so. But I want to go out there and I want to support the president who was popularly elected. Even more people that on November 5th voted for him are now approving of his nominees. I asked North Carolinians an hour ago, 80% supported him. So people like what he's doing. They don't want businesses. This is a beautiful city, but people in America don't like the way this place is run, and they don't like the way it's influenced their lives.
Can I ask you just quickly before we go on North Carolina? Obviously, your state has been dealing with so much. I know disaster relief has been a big conversation up here on the Hill. What is the state of the recovery right now?
Well, again, thank you for asking and your focus on this. And that's the greatest fear in those western counties is being forgotten. And I want to let them know I'm going to do everything I can to get them the support that they need, and that we won't forget them. And I appreciate you asking.
Yeah, and please keep us updated. Obviously, we've covered that a lot. Senator, thank you for your time tonight. Great to have you here.